Hi there, I'm Ben, an RV technician here at Lichtsinn RV. Today we're going to be going over Winnebago's Travato 59KL, which is their lithium model. So to start this off, we're actually going to start right here inside the main walk-in door. So we have our main screen here. It does say pull here, and it does say that for a reason. They want you to pull on that area, and that's the reason is so the screen doesn't kick at an angle or anything. So we want to grab here, pull across, and that will allow you to use your screen. Keep the door open while you're camping. And it also says right above, pull here, it says do not use this as a grab bar. That's actually really important. I've seen a lot of these broke from people grabbing onto them trying to get into the coach. You'll actually rip it off the tracks if you do that. So definitely don't use it as a grab bar. That's kind of what we have this grab bar for right here. Use this grab bar, not the screen. Okay, the other thing we have right inside the main walk-in door here is we have a GFI plug-in, which is down low here. That GFI plug-in is actually going to control the outside plug-in and also the plug-ins that are close to the sinks. So pretty much anytime we're within 6 feet of water, we have to protect it with a GFI plug-in. It does have a reset button and a test button right on the front. So if we don't have any power on the outside plug or by the kitchen, come check this plug-in first. Right above that, we have our awning controls. So we have awning in and out. I'll show you that here in a second. And then we have awning lights. And again, I'll show you that here. Over here is a non-labeled switch. That's actually going to be for under lights that are underneath the step on this side and the step over on the driver's side. It does give you a light on that switch to tell you that they're on. And as you can see down here, the light's underneath there. Just gives you a nice running light. Okay, so for the awning, all we're gonna do is hit the out button one time. And that's gonna allow that awning to come out. The awnings do have safety switches in them that don't allow it to get put out while the engine is running. So if your engine's running and you're trying to put your awning out, that's probably why. So I pushed it once, now it's gonna come out by itself, stop once it gets out to a stopping point. So we'll let it get out. Almost there. All right, there it is. So that's as far as it comes out. As you can see, there's no legs, no arms, no nothing that are gonna hold that up. So it's held by these arms that come out here. There is a wind sensor in the back side. So way back here up high is actually that box that's up there is a wind sensor. It will put it away automatically if it senses any too much vibration pretty much. With awnings, again, we don't want to trust those wind sensors 100%. So if you're going to leave your RV or, go into bed, just put that awning away. Just be safe. Put it away, and then we'll be good to go. All right, also on the end of the awning there, we do have our LED lights, which is that switch I was telling you about that's right beside the in and out switch. As you can see right there, they're really bright at night. So it actually is a really nice feature of the awning. That awning light switch is a lighted switch too, just because when I do put this awning away, you can't tell that these lights are on. So they do light that switch up just so it tells you that they're on or off. All right, and then when we're gonna put it away, we're just gonna hit the in button one time. So right at the bottom, hit the in button. Now we'll put it away. The one thing that we can do though, if your engine is running, your awning will be able to be put away. You just can't put it out when your engine's running. All right, so we're gonna let that go away. And as you can see with that wind sensor, it doesn't put it away the fastest, so big gusts and stuff can actually be damaging. So that's why I tell you to put it away at night when you're gonna leave your coach. Pretty much anytime you're not gonna sit underneath it and use it. All right, better put it away for you. All right, next thing we're gonna talk about is the door. It's a big van door, so we have to make sure we close it hard. If I just go like this and barely close it, I guarantee you there's gonna be a warning up in your dash. So just make sure when you do close this door, we go here and give it a good slam. You're not gonna hurt the door by slamming it hard. That's what it's meant to do. Okay, so now that we talked about the door, we're gonna move back a little bit and we'll go into tires. So on the tires back here, on the rears are going to be 80 PSI. pressure on both sides. On the fronts, it's 65 PSI. We do have TPMS in these tires. It's not the kind of TPMS that is going to tell you your pressure or temperature, but it will tell you if you have a low tire on your dash. It'll give you a warning. All right, moving up. First port that we have right here is for a portable solar panel. So we do have the solar that's on the roof already, but this is for an expansion panel. Pretty much if you want another portable one that you can set outside, that's what this is for. It's already pre-wired into the controller inside. Close that. All right, next one over. All right, so in here we have a 12-volt outlet and coax hookup. This coax hookup is an outfeed. So this is made if you want to put a TV on the outside of the coach. The infeed is actually on the other side of the coach. Close that. And this is actually pre-wired into your TV antenna that's on the roof. Down. And then we also have a 110 volt outlet that's out here. This is the one I was talking about that is tied in to that GFI plug-in that's inside. Close that. Okay, now we're going to move actually up high really quick here. We do have our outdoor speakers up there. And that's controlled with your rear entertainment inside. You have your LED light, which I'll show you the switch once we go inside for that. Okay, now we'll move around to the back of the coach. Okay, we're going to start down low. First of all, we'll talk on your hitch. Your hitch is a 3,500 pound hitch, 350 pound tongue weight. And then anytime we put anything on that tongue weight, we have to take that off of our combined weight. So take that in mind when we put weight back here. If I put 350 pounds back here, that comes off the combined weight of the whole coach. But you have up to 3,500 pounds of towing. And then we also have a 4-pin adapter there for plugging your lights in for any trailers or anything you're towing. All right, moving up on the right side here. Couple little goodies that come with it. Okay, so first of all, one here. This is actually an air pump, and it also has Fix-A-Flat in it. So we can pump our tires up. If we get a flat, we can actually pump Fix-A-Flat in it just to get us to the next repair shop. It's a 12-volt air pump. That's why they give us 12-volt sockets pretty much all over the coach. So that's what that is. Right here, we have a jack and tire tools. So if we have a blowout, any of that stuff, we do have a way of changing that. All right, next thing over is an outside sprayer. So that's the blue coil hose. It actually is made to go in right here. And all it is a simple quick connect. So you're just gonna push it in, it's gonna lock in place, push back, we'll release it. The one thing you wanna make sure you do before you release that, take the pressure off that hose, shut the water pump off, and then actually hold the sprayer. Otherwise you will get wet when you release that. All right, other thing we have down here is a 10-foot sewer hose that Winnebago sends with it. There is a storage port for this on the driver's side. 10-foot isn't always the best, so a lot of people usually get a different sewer hose that has all the right angles, clear elbows, all that stuff. Only thing you have to do is get another storage container or figure out some kind of storage underneath that you can store that hose, because the storage that Winnebago installs only will hold this 10-foot hose. So it's kind of up to you. Put that back in. Okay, so now right up beside this sprayer port, first of all right here we have a unmarked switch. This switch right here is going to be for an LED light that's on the driver's side up high. Next one is going to be the water pump switch. Two places in this coach to turn your water pump on and off. One's back here and one's inside, and I'll show you that once we go inside. They both work independently, so it doesn't matter if I turn it on here, shut it off inside. Doesn't matter where you turn it on and off at. Next one over is going to be for the LED light that's actually right above us. So that allows you to light up this back area if we're going to work back here or any of that stuff at night. It's on and off. And again, that 12-volt outlet that we talked about, right there. And a 110-volt plug here. This one also will be tied into a GFI plug-in just because it's close to the outside. Okay, now if we go down low, right below this right compartment here, all the way under the coach. So right here is a portable grill hookup pretty much. So inside they actually give you a male adapter that will plug into that quick adapter under there. All you have to do is buy a hose and a grill, and you can hook up to this port and use the LP that's actually on board. The only thing you need to remember about this is that it is regulated LP already. So if you do buy a grill, we have to buy a grill that does not have a regulator on it, or we have to remove that regulator. But it's kind of nice, then we can use the LP we already have on board. All right. So now, over here, so then, we'll actually talk about the toilet really quick. Since we're back here, it's easier back here. It's controlled on a foot pedal on the right side here. Right down there. So with that foot pedal, if you partially push it down, so barely push it down, you'll actually fill the bowl up with water. And if you fully depress that, you'll dump it into the black tank. So if we're going number 2, we need more water. You're gonna barely push it down, allow that water to fill up, and then fully depress it to drop it down in there. We do have a cleaning sprayer on this side. Cleaning sprayer only works if that foot pedal is pushed down. So that just saves us from kids messing with it, accidentally pinching against the wall and flooding our coach. So the only way you're gonna get that to work is push that foot pedal down. Moving above that, we have our flip down sink. All right, so in here, we have our faucet that will swivel out. Here and here. If you pull out on that, up is hot, down is cold. There is a little drain stop down here in the bottom. So if you need to plug it off or anything, that's what that's for. Okay, and then all we gotta do is push it up, and that's gonna latch into place, just like that for travel. Right above that, this is actually the switch that controls the light on the ceiling. You have a medicine cabinet that's right above that. Okay, down below here, we have our shower valve. Pretty much the further I turn that shower valve up, just twist it, it's gonna get hotter. There's no pulling out on it, nothing. All you're doing is twisting. Then on our shower head, right here, we do have a stop button that's right here. That's actually gonna reduce the flow of water. It won't stop it 100%, but it will reduce it. And that's actually really handy because then all we gotta do is set our temperature once, and then we can regulate our water flow from here. So then we're not wasting water, and we can take short military showers pretty much, which is really, really useful on small coaches because we're limited to the amount of water we have on board and the amount of storage of wastewater that we can do. All right. Okay, and then actually up high in the bathroom here, so right up here is an exhaust vent. All we're gonna do is push it straight up and then push that red button. Turns it on. Push the red button to shut it back off. Pull down to seal it up. All right, so in the wardrobe here. All right, so in here right now we have our shower curtain, which actually goes around my head here and actually covers the toilet. It's not made to cover the door, it's made to go around, not covering the door, so that covers everything else. We have 2 covers here. These are for the rear doors. So that will actually magnet right to the door. There's little magnets inside each corner that will magnet to the steel around the back door to give you the privacy back there. All right, talk about that later. Okay, now down below that, storage. And these are just press latches, so you just push them in to lock them, push them again to release it. More storage. Okay, and final, we have another storage. Right there. All right, now moving back outside. Okay, on the back door here, starting down low here, we have a toilet paper holder. Right here beside that, you do have a secondary lock that can lock both doors together, just chain lock. Okay, then moving up high, we do have a towel bar for the bathroom. Okay, now we'll move to the driver's side. So as we come around the driver's side, on the back door here, the back driver's side door, you do have your full extension ladder. That ladder can actually be taken off and moved anywhere pretty much down the driver's side, wherever you see steel or like aluminum on the bottom. So pretty much anywhere that you're gonna hit right on here. And that's kind of what the pads on the bottom of that ladder are for, is to hit on those parts. All you have to do is, going back to the ladder, is right down low here. You'll see this little twist thing. We'll just twist that, undo it, and then you can lift the ladder right off. One thing we want to do is always get up on that ladder at least and look at the roof and do a visual inspection of all the seals, just solar panels, anything. Make sure there's nothing that's out of place. Any sticks up there, any of that kind of stuff. We want to make sure none of our seals got punctured, any of that. Be very careful if you walk on the roof. These roofs are very easy to dent, so we want to be very careful if you're going to get up there and walk. We do have the rack up there for storage. All right, so then also up high there, that was that LED light that I was talking about in the back, that unmarked switch. So that's the one on the driver's side. Coming down from that, we have our Santa flush. So a Santa flush is plumbed right into your black tank. It's there to help you clean it pretty much. It's gonna keep our sidewalls clean, keep our sensors reading right. All we're gonna do is hook a hose up to that, turn it on and flush. Always have a secondary hose for this. Have a different color hose than your drinking water hose. A lot of people bring a green one and a white one. But how I like to do it is I hook a hose up, then go down pretty much, and I'm gonna do my dumping. And then I like to flush after that, flush for a little while, close my black valve, and then let it fill up a little bit, dump it, and I do that a couple times just to help it rinse off those sidewalls a little bit. So if you have time every time that you dump to do this, do it. It will help everything just work a lot better. Okay, now we're gonna go down below that. Everyone's favorite part. So dumping. Dumping really isn't that bad. People just think it's gross, everything, but really you're not seeing it a lot of times or any of that, so it's not too bad. All right, so that blue hose that we have back there, I would take this cap off. Right there, set that down. Then I would hook my blue hose up to here. And then back here in the back, you'll see black tank is labeled the first valve, and then you'll see gray tank is labeled the second valve. So we're gonna always do the black tank first. We'll grab that black handle, pull straight out on it. That will dump the whole black tank. Once you don't hear any more water running or anything coming out, go ahead and pull your gray tank. Dumps the whole gray tank, helps flush your hose out. And then at that point, once your gray tank's all done dumping, you can close your gray tank. Then we can go into your flushing procedure. So however you want to flush, then go into that and then clean that black tank. Then after that, pretty much done dumping. Again, that's where a lot of people like to have clear elbows, stuff like that, so they know when their black tank's running clean pretty much. Always have rubber gloves with you or something. Again, it's not that messy, but still you want some kind of gloves or something. When you're done, just reverse that process. So then I would close the black valve, close the gray valve, come back over here, undo that hose, put that cap back on, and then a lot of people at the dump station will rinse that hose out, clean it, put it away. So I can see, really not that bad. Okay, so moving forward of that, right here we have our Truma exhaust. So this is where our Truma combi is actually going to vent out and take fresh air in. Down at the bottom here, we're gonna have exhaust coming out. We're gonna have fresh air going back in there. So it doesn't get extremely hot, but it does get hot, so be careful that we don't lean stuff up against it, any of that. We don't wanna block any airflow going into that Truma or coming out of that Truma. All right, coming forward to that, First one here is going to be your tank fill. So we just hooked the hose up, and that's gonna fill your freshwater tank, and that's the only thing that does is fill your freshwater tank. So then you'll fill till either your gauge inside says full, or the tank actually has an overflow on it. So if you wanna fill until you hear water going on the ground, that's okay too. A lot of people for either one of these will have a pressure regulator. And what a pressure regulator does is just reduce all water pressure down to 40 to 50 PSI. And that's just protecting your pipes is what it's there for. All right, so that's tank fill, and it's labeled tank fill right beside it. Next one over is gonna be city fill. City fill is the same way. Hook a hose up, have your pressure regulator on there, but this one will not fill your freshwater tank. This one's for if the resort offers water, you'll hook up to their water source, and we'll use the pressure from the hose, from their water, instead of our pump on board. So you'll shut your pump off inside and just use the pressure from the hose. And that will feed every appliance that you have inside this coach, sprayer in the back, pretty much everything, or it does feed everything. Down below that, we have our sewer hose storage. And again, this is only gonna fit Winnebago's blue hose that they send with you. It is sealed off from the inside of the coach, so don't worry about putting it in there. All right, now right down low here, it's gonna be kind of hard to see. So right here, it says freshwater drains, and that's exactly what it is. There's actually 3 valves, one here, here, and here. The one on this side is a low point drain. Again, it's probably hard to see, low point drain. The one in the middle is gonna drain your freshwater tank, and then we have another low point drain. So the right and left one are hot and cold line low point drains. And again, that's for winterizing, getting water out of our lines is what that's there for. Your middle one is how you're gonna drain your freshwater tank. Okay, now moving just forward to that, we have our LP station. So this is where we're gonna fill our coach with LP. Starting on the right, that's where we pretty much hook the tool up to fill. Over here we have an 80% outage valve, so when I'm filling LP, I actually will open that up until it sprays out white mist. It's another safety valve pretty much there. You have an on-off button here. There's actually 2 switches that we can turn the LP on and off in this coach. One's here and one's inside. I'll show you once we go inside. They both have to be on to get any LP to the coach, but either switch, if you shut it off, will shut all LP off to the coach. All right, moving above that. So now right up here, we have our 30 amp cord. It's about 30 feet of it, comes with the coach. Has a little twist retainer there. Twist it off, pull off. Okay, so what we're trying to do here, you got that little L that's right there. You're trying to line that up with the L that's in here. And that's just to make sure we get the hots, the neutral, and the grounds all positioned just right. So then we'll line that up, push it in, give it a little twist, and then you're gonna thread this on. And by threading that on, you're holding your cord on. So if someone kicks it, and then pretty much then it can't fall off your coach. It is lighted. There's a light on the coach on the plug here. And then actually on the other side of the cord, there's another light on top of that will tell you you have power. Anytime we're dealing with 30 amps coming in or any main AC power coming into a coach, we always talk about surge protection. It's always a good idea to have some kind of surge protection for your coach. And that's just protecting you from reverse polarity, the hertz being off, or just anything bad with that pole or anything bad with that power coming in. It's gonna save you quite a bit of money, pretty much, down the road. If you would have a surge come in, it could do a lot of damage to all your electronics inside this coach. So, just be cautious with that. Okay, so here we have our coax in. So the coax in is if the resort offers cable, we could hook up to this, and that would feed their cable stations into our coach. We just would have to do a channel search for their cable stations. All right, moving forward to that. Right here. So right here, we have our fuel door. unleaded fuel only. Not rated to take any E85, so just your super unleadeds, unleadeds, standard unleadeds. Refer to the manual if you want to know exactly what fuel you can and cannot put in. Around the corner there, you're going to have your combined weight, and you'll also have tire pressures, all that stuff on the 2 stickers that are right inside the door. VIN numbers, serial numbers, all of that year. Okay, right down low here, we have your parking brake. All we're gonna do is pull up. You'll hear clicks, that's how you know it's engaged. You're gonna lift, push the button in, and allow it to go down. That disengages the parking brake. Up front here, we'll start here. We have 2 arrows and the mode button. That will take you through all the in-dash options up on the dash. So that's your odometers, that's your trips, fuel range, stuff like that. Down below here is actually speaker, and that's for your shades up front. So it's an alarm pretty much. If we have those shades up when we turn the engine on, that's gonna buzz. And then right beside there is for Volta. So that's actually part of our automatic starting procedure. There's a couple ways we can do auto start. One of our first ways is right here on the key. We have to make sure the hood's closed, this driver door is closed, and then I can push the lock button 3 times. 2, 3. You will hear the engine honk, or hear the engine honk, and then you'll see this light over here turn red. So there's a little light around that silver button that turns red. That means we engaged auto start. To disengage, you actually hit it 3 times. The unlock button up top, hit that 3 times, and that will disengage auto start. So auto start, what it's gonna do, it's actually looking for battery voltage. So if it sees anywhere from 25 to 35%, it's gonna automatically start. There's a couple parameters that it uses to shut down. It'll run for 60 minutes, see a certain voltage or engine temperature, get up so much, and then it will shut down automatically. So that is part of your auto start. The other thing to remember with auto start or anything, just starting your engine itself will not charge your batteries. Your batteries need to see a high idle, and that's what this auto start does, is actually put it in a high idle. So if you just leave it run outside your house, you're not going to be charging your batteries. So just make sure you always have it in a high idle whenever you're trying to charge your batteries or use auto start. So that's that. Okay, I guess the other thing on the key fob, why we got it here, also the unlock is going to unlock the front doors, that top one. The middle one will lock your doors, and the bottom one's going to actually unlock the back 2 doors. Push the top button, key flips out, that's for your engine. And then there is a gray key on here. What that is for is the one lockable storage that's underneath your table inside. Or in this case, not on your table, behind your driver's seat. So that's what that's for. Okay, up high there we have our light control, which is going to be just twisting here, and that turns your lights on. It's also your blinkers and your brights and dims. Down below that is going to be your cruise control. All we got to do is twist right here, and that turns on the cruise control. Hit it up to set a cruise. Up and down is also your USL and decel. And then resume is right here on the end. Okay, right around the corner here is the hood release. Right there, releases the hood. And then if you actually look, you'll see a panel on the floor there, which is right here. That is where our chassis battery is located. So if we ever need to replace it, there actually is a release on the ground side. So if we want, when we put it away for storage, want to disconnect the battery, you can actually just manually release it and pull that off the post. And I actually do recommend doing that if you're going to store it for, a period of time. If you're going to store it for a couple weeks, might as well disconnect it. Then we know this battery is going to be good next time we come to start it. Coming over here on the door. All right, very first control right there is actually for your mirrors. We can control all 4 mirrors on here, so the top and bottom on both sides. The arrows correspond to what we're trying to control. So this arrow over here, if I twist that knob, now I'm controlling the passenger side upper mirror. And then you just up, down, left, right, left. If I twist it again, point it down towards the bottom, now we're controlling that little blind spot mirror on the bottom. And then same thing on the other side to control the driver's side. Moving back from that, we can actually fold both mirrors in. And benefit of that is if we're trying to get into a tight space, or maybe you're parked somewhere and you just don't want anyone to bump into them, you can fold them in just by the push of one button, which is nice. Window controls here, that controls passenger side and driver's side window. And we have locks. There is a lock button there. Also just a tiny bit of storage down in the bottom of your door here. All right, now we'll move around to the front of the coach. Okay, up here in the front, in the engine compartment. We'll start on the right side. First thing we have on the right side, right underneath this box right there. So underneath that box right there is fuses and relays, and that's gonna be chassis stuff. Right here, this little flip port can flip up. This is gonna be the positive terminal for our battery. Since we don't have access without pulling the floor up, this is where we're gonna hook up if we need jumper cables, if we wanna hook a charger up, any of that stuff. This is the positive one. And it actually has a plus just right on top that tells you positive. And then down here in the front, we have our ground. So positive there, put your ground cable there. All right, above that, we are gonna have brake fluid. It's a clear fluid, so even if I shake it a little bit, I can see the level is up at max there. Next one over is gonna be your engine coolant. So again, you have minimum and max right on the front that tells you how high they should be. It's gonna change too. The hotter your engine is, it's gonna expand. The cooler it is, it's gonna retract. So we wanna fill it when it's cold. All right, now moving over to this side. Right down here is gonna be our oil dipstick. And then right beside that dipstick is the oil fill. It's a 5W20 is what they recommend in here. Oil changes should be done every 10,000 miles. That's kind of a lot. I mean, your manual will say 10,000 miles. We still recommend to, if you like to change your oil every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, change it every 3,000 to 5,000 miles. But kind of up to you. Your manual says 10. We just recommend probably not that much. No matter what, your initial oil change should be at 5,000 miles. Okay, moving over here, up high, you're gonna have windshield washer fluid. Reservoir is way back there. Down below that, you'll have your power steering fluid, which is right here. And then we'll come down in the front of the coach. Okay, so down here towards the passenger side, you'll see this little square cutout here. That's actually for, there's a bar in with your jack that you'll pop this out, screw the bar in there, and if we ever need to pull this out, if we got stuck, any of that stuff, we'd have to screw that bar in to hook a chain to it, because there's no good place to hook up to the front of this coach unless you put that bar in. Okay. Okay, now we'll move around back to the passenger side. Couple things inside the passenger door here. We have 2 glove boxes. So one down low. And then we also have one up high, right there. Close, close. Okay, so now I'm gonna move back inside the coach. A couple things to talk about really quick inside the coach. We're gonna go through the black bag quick. This is Winnebago's black bag that comes with the RV. This is gonna have all your manuals in it. Starting with, we're gonna have your operator's manual. So the operator's manual is going to walk you through operating everything in the coach. Back here in section 10 is going to be a maintenance chart. So it's a good reference. It's going to tell you when to check things before its use, weekly, monthly, yearly. Make sure we look at it. It's a good reference to get started with. You'll probably get your own list going as you go, but definitely look at this and kind of follow this stuff to start with. So that's in section 10. This manual also will walk you through doing the auto start. So any procedure in that auto start will be in the operator's manual. So any questions in that, go to the operator's manual. Otherwise, if you can't figure it out, give us a call. We'll walk you through it too. But that's what the operator's manual is. Next manual we're going to have is operator's manual, but supplement. So what this actually is every manual for every single thing in this coach. So the manual that came with the microwave, manual that came with the TV, Winnebago just takes it and they put it in binder form for you, which makes it really nice. You don't have a bunch of random manuals laying around, any of that stuff. Everything in here is really, really easy to find. So if I go on the front here, everything is subcategorized, which makes it really easy to find. These manuals also are on Winnebago's website on PDF files. So if you'd rather look at them on the computer, stuff like that, you can do that also. But this is the copy that comes with the coach. Always a good idea if we have any problems running anything, any problems with anything, go to the manuals first. More than likely, they're going to walk you through how to run things pretty much. So always go to the manuals first. All right, next thing we have. In the black bag, you'll also have a copy of your window stickers, which is kind of nice. So this first one I'm showing you here is going to have make, model, serial, and chassis VIN number. Next one over will be all your exterior heights, lengths, widths. And then last but not least, you have all your tank sizes. So that's your freshwater tank, your fuel, black, gray, and LP gas. Upgraded options are here. On the back, you have all your standard options that come with the coach. And then on this other page that comes with it, we have all your model numbers and serial numbers for every appliance in this coach. So if you're trying to find the serial number for the TV, it's going to be on this paper. So then you don't have to try to find it on the TV, which is really nice. And that's pretty much for if we need warranty parts, any of that stuff, or replacement parts, that's going to make it a lot easier to find those replacement parts. All right, other thing we have in here is Dodge manual. So this is going to be anything to deal with the chassis. So for the ProMaster. So refer to this manual for any of that stuff. All right. There's one more manual. Here we go. Okay, last manual I have in here is actually the dimensions one. So this is for your inverter. Any questions on operating that, or if you're going to change any settings in that inverter, go to the manual so we know what settings we're changing, know what parameters we need to set. Good manual to read. Definitely look through it. Okay, so that is the black bag. Again, this is something Winnebago does very, very well. So any questions, go to the black bag because they put it together really, really good. Put this up here. All right, so to start with, we do have storage up above the kitchen here. Again, those have those push button latches on it for releasing and locking it. But nice big storage up here. Close that one, close that one. We'll stay up here. We have your king jack antenna. So the king jack antenna is for your local stations. If we're out camping and we just want to pull in local stations on a TV, we're gonna turn this on. So there's an on-off button on the side here. All this on-off button is doing is turning the lights on or off. It doesn't shut power off to the antenna, so it still will work even if that's on or off. These lights are a signal meter. So the more lights we have, the better signal we're gonna get. The other thing we have is an attenuator. What that's actually for is if we're picking up bad, weak, kind of horrible stations, what we can do is dampen the signal down, so now we're only picking up the strongest stations, so the best quality stations. More than likely, you're always going to leave that maxed out because you're going to try to find as many stations as you possibly can. All we have to do with this is push this little button you see in the front there, or in the back right now, push that in, and then rotate. And then again, you're just trying to get as many blue lights as you can. It is a stationary antenna, so all it does is rotate. You don't have to crank it up or put it down. Right beside that, we do have our smoke detector. Flip down, takes a 9-volt battery. So our smoke detector and our carbon monoxide detector, which are both on the ceiling, one's in the bedroom, the other one's up here in the kitchen, the smoke detector. We want to test them often, and there is a test button right here on the front. And then we also want to replace those batteries yearly. So test and replace batteries. Definitely keep those working. I mean, that's there for your safety. So smoke here, carbon in the bedroom, and we do have an LP detector in here too, which I'll show you as we go around. All right, now coming back in here to the kitchen. So up high, just right underneath the cabinets, you do have a glass heat shield, and that's for the cooking. That's just so we're not putting all that heat right up to our cabinets. We have 2 lights that are right beside that. Each one of them is individually controlled. There's a little slide right in the front there. And the same thing with the other light. Let's turn that back on. Boom. All right, moving down to the window / shade. All right, with these shades, I like to use 2 hands. Works way better. So push down, put both hands on, pull up. And that's your privacy shade. And then we do also have the screen on the window, the flip latch in the middle that we're going to flip up, push the window open, and then if we want to close, push the latch to lock it. All right, here on top of the countertop, stovetop. I'm going to flip open. All right, so in the front are our controls. We're going to set everything to this little bump that you see right up there. Now what we're going to do is turn this to where you see that lightning bolt. That's a sparker, or that's a lighter pretty much. So what we're going to do is go right there, we're going to push in and then start sparking. Let the gas come up. You do always want to hold this for about 3 seconds. That actually tells the safety valve on the back side to stay open, which keeps giving you fuel. What happens if you don't, I'll show you on the other side. So if I turn there, go to light, and I let go right away, it won't stay lit. So you have to keep that safety valve a little bit warm. And then after you get it lit, let it run for a little bit, then you can let go. Then we can go to high flame or down to a simmer. Back up to high, back to off. If this is really hot when you're done cooking, all that stuff, or when it's really hot when you're done cooking, go ahead and let it cool down before we bring this glass down. That little bit that we did won't hurt anything, so not much heat there. I'll bring it down. Over on the right side there, we have a pull-out cutting board. So there, back in. You want to make sure you push that all the way back, because there is a little latch back there that holds it in place. We'll go down below that to our microwave / convection oven. Really nice, really easy to use. So if you're scared of a convection oven, don't be, because it's actually really easy. First thing we're going to show you is inside. So we have the glass tray, plastic roller under that, and we have the steel rack. Okay, so the steel rack is made strictly for convection. That has to come out anytime we microwave. The nylon bumpers that you see on that steel rack can stay on. They're rated to take the heat. So as you see it right now, it's kind of like a normal cooking. If I take this out, flip it over, now it becomes more like a high broil. It gets us up closer to an electric element that's up top on this microwave. The glass tray and plastic roller can stay in for any of the functions. So I'll close that now. And we'll go over here to the controls. So on the controls, if we want to use convection, this is how easy it is. Convection, ask for a temperature. Down here on the numbers are our temperatures. So say we want 300. Push 300. Push start. I'm going to stop it just for now. And as it preheats, you'll actually see these lights lighting up. Then once we get up to 300, cook like you would at home. The biggest thing to remember about a convection microwave is that it cooks 50% faster than a normal oven. So we either have to adjust our times or our temperatures. Kind of up to you. You'll probably have to play with it a little bit. More than likely you might burn something, who knows. All right, so then I can push stop and clear. Anytime I push stop and clear, it's always back in microwave mode. So a lot of people won't store that steel rack in there for that reason. This also works as a grill, right there. A roaster. We have our power levels that we can go up and down with. Defrost is there. Now on our presets, we have popcorn, potato, beverage, dinner plate, vegetables, and frozen vegetables. So those 6 are for microwaving. We have 3 more down low here, which are roasted chicken, cake, and pizza. Those are presets for the convection part of it. Anytime we're in microwave and we push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, those are express cooks. So it's 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, 6 minutes. The only way we can actually type a time into this microwave, a cooking time, is by lowering our power level down. Once you lower the power level down, then you can cook with it, set whatever time you want to. You do also have a clock down here that you can set, kitchen timer, and then also down here, if we hold the stop button, you can lock the controls. So that's your microwave convection oven. It's really easy. If not, there's a manual in the manual that will kind of walk you through it too. All right, down below that, we do have storage drawer that we can pull out. A couple goodies in here. Okay, so first of all, we got magnets, which are for the rear shades. Hold them in place a lot better so there's no gaps or any of that stuff. An extra cable that came with the TV. We have a control here. This is actually for the vent fan that's right above me. I'll talk about it in a second. But on the remote, you have a power button. You have fan speeds here and here. You have the plus and minus are for when I set the auto function. When I push it in auto, we actually set a thermostat. So you can set this for 60 degrees, and anytime it gets warmer than 60 degrees, the vent's actually going to automatically open, and then once it cools back down, it will automatically close. So that's what that auto function's for. And then all you'd have to do is hit power again, and we'll manually bring that closed. So that's for the vent. There is a little holder here that you can mount anywhere in your coach to hold that remote. Over here we have an Insignia remote. This is for your TV. All right. The other remote we have here is a Jensen remote. This is actually for your CD player and DVD player. Close that. Another storage drawer underneath that. There, any of these round little things you see here are actually part of the Truma. That's actually your heat vents that are giving heat to the coach. Right beside that is that lockable storage that I was telling you about. So pull it up. There and there. And that's what that gray key is going to be for. The other thing we have right around the corner here, kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can put this. Okay, so right around the corner, there's one switch right here. If I put that up, it's the light above my head. So it's the light up there. So up is high, middle is off, and down is just a low night light. So next over from that switch, we do have USB ports for charging cell phones, computers, whatever you need. And then a little further back, you do also have a 110 volt outlet. Okay, now we're going to talk about the fridge. All right, so the fridge that's in the Travatos has a safety latch right here, which is just a travel latch. We're going to open. We have our freezer that's up high. The control for it is actually right back here. 0 is off. And then 1 through 7 is actually the temperature controls. 1 is your warmest, 7 is your coldest. This is a compressor driven fridge. So it's a 12-volt fridge. We don't use any LP, none of that stuff. Strictly off batteries that this runs. That's kind of why we have the amount of solar that we have up on the roof, is to kind of keep up with this fridge. Close, and then make sure you put the latch on anytime you're traveling. And that's just to stop the door from flying open. Okay, above that, into our sink in the kitchen, you're gonna pull out. Up is hot, down is cold. So up hot, down cold, just pull out, just turn it on. Make sure the faucet's over the sink, because you do have to move the faucet out of the way to lift the lid up to the sink. The other thing this sink comes with is a basin. So the basin's kind of nice because a lot of people will do dishes and stuff in here and actually put that water outside, so they're not filling their waste tanks up. Kind of allows you to stay out camping a little bit longer than filling your tanks up. A couple things that are in here is we have a drying rack, which actually will hook right up here. So that hooks on there. This here is a prop. What they actually do, they don't install this. It's made to go on your counter and then actually hold that glass up. So anything we put on that drying rack won't pull it down if we put too much weight. You can use double-sided tape, something like that. I would suggest doing that if you're going to install this instead of drilling through your countertop. Or you just have to kind of watch how much weight you put on that drying rack. The other thing that this basin comes with is another cutting board that is shaped just like the basin, which fits inside for storage. And then we do also have just a little stopper, and that's how we plug off the kitchen sink. There. And I can store that basin back in the sink, which is really nice. Pull down, closes back in place. Faucet, back over there. I always put the faucet back over the sink, even though it's glass there. And then a lot of people will set a paper towel, something down, because a lot of times when we're traveling, when moving, these faucets are holding water. So any movement can actually make a drip or two come up and over. Completely normal. Don't think you have a leak if you see a water puddle here. It's completely normal, pretty much for every RV. Okay, moving back from that. So we'll go up high. We got more storage up above the driver's side bed. Nice big storage. And again, this storage technically runs front to back, kitchen and bedroom. There's a little divider in the middle is it. Okay, coming down from that, again, we have the same shades that we had in the kitchen. Same type of windows, flip, open. The only difference is your back window here has the shade. It just doesn't open. It's a stationary window, just gives you more light coming in pretty much. Above that is actually a reading light. There's a button on it up here. If I push it once, it's a blue light. If I hold it, it becomes a normal reading light. Then all you gotta do is push it one more time, shuts it off. Down below that is going to be USB ports, and again, that's for charging cell phones, computers, whatever you need to. You do have your extra cushion here for making this into a sofa. I'll move it out of the way because we do have, up on both sides of the bed, you do have head lifts. It's a matter of coming up, locks in place. To reset, you're going to go all the way up, resets back down. Little bit of storage right over there beside the bed. All right, then the other thing we have under the driver's bed, which is going to be more towards the front here. Okay, I'm going to just roll that back. We do have seat belts that are located on this side. They're usually tucked back there. And then there is a cutout right down here. If I lift up, gives us more storage, but not only storage does this give us, it gives us access to all the valves, our drinking water, all that stuff underneath this. So all I need to do is put both hands in, clamp it, and then pull up. Okay, so down here is, first thing we'll look at right over here is our drinking water filter. So that's actually going to filter all the cold water that comes out of your kitchen faucet. And that's what this is. So the box that came with it is going to have, a filter in it, which goes inside that cartridge, or inside that reservoir. You're going to have a filter wrench, which is going to help you take that off, that cartridge down there. And then we're going to have a rubber washer. So that rubber washer is made to go on top of the filter before we install it. There, drop it in, and then twist that back on down there. So that's there. Either that's going to be installed already, or it will be in this box a lot of times. A couple other things that we do have down there is a winterizing bypass valve, and also a valve that turns on a suction hose. It's really hard to see right now, so if you're interested in those valves, go to our winterizing video. We actually tear the whole top of this bed off, and I talk about the valves down there. It's a lot easier to see if you do that. But yeah, so your truma sits down there, and the valve's just right outside the truma. I don't know if you can see it or not. So it's straight down here. There's two valves if we look straight down. So there's two valves, and again, that turns on the suction hose to suck the RV antifreeze in and bypasses our truma, because we don't want to pump 4 gallons of RV antifreeze through that truma. Plus we don't want it holding RV antifreeze all winter. And then also there's another little yellow lever down there. Again, very hard to see right now, but that's going to drain your truma is what that's for. Okay, then all we gotta do is put this back on and put this back on. Also in the front of the bed right below us is another access port to get into those same valves and all that stuff. So if I pull that off, that allows us to get in there too. You got your clear hose here, which is your siphon hose to suck the RV antifreeze in. You might be able to see the valves a little better from here. They're right over there. So the one that's on the red line is actually the truma bypass. The one that's on the blue line is actually turning your suction hose on. And the yellow one, probably won't be able to see that. That's way back there. Kind of hard to see. But this is also where our 12-volt water pump is located. So if we ever have bad water pressure from our pump, there is a filter. So kind of on the back side here. Right there. So it's a little wire mesh filter. Just unscrew it, take the wire mesh filter out, clean it, put it back in, and that should increase your water flow. A lot of times that catches sediment, iron buildup, stuff like that. So a lot of people will get an inline filter before any of the water comes into the coach to kind of reduce that. Pretty inexpensive, connects right to your hose. Kind of nice, then you don't have those problems. You know, faucets building up with sediment, water pumps building up with sediment. We'll put that back on, just heavy duty latches, right in place. Back down with that. Also right around the corner, you do have another 110 volt outlet. Right there. Okay, still down low here, we have a subwoofer speaker, 110 volt outlet. We have a cold air return for the truma, allowing fresh air to get underneath there. We have storage here. Then the other thing is behind this, just 2 screws right there, there is a GFI plug-in that the truma is plugged into. So if you're having any electrical problems or not running on electric for the truma, take that off and make sure that GFI is not tripped. If it's tripped, just hit the reset button. That should take care of your problem. Okay, so while we're down here, let's just go over to the other side, on the passenger side. Okay, so on the passenger side here, up high, we'll start right here. If I pop this panel off, this is all of our 12 volt fuses. So everything that's 12 volt in the coach is going to run off a fuse. And these are where they're at. There are LED lights that will light up underneath the fuses if they're blown. Everything is labeled on the back side of the cover. Always a good idea to have some extra fuses with you. More than likely nothing's going to happen, but if it does, it's a good idea to have them with you. Okay, so then cover back on. You're just going to put the one side in first, and then don't be afraid to push it in. It snaps in place. Right beside that's going to be our LP detector. So the LP detector is for the liquid propane that we have on board. If we would have a leak, it would set this off. It's really loud. There's a test button right here to test it. Again, just like your smoke alarms and your carbon, test it off and make sure it's working. If you don't see a green light, it's probably not working. This one's hardwired into your coach batteries. So anytime the batteries are on, this is going to be on. I do know there are some aerosols and stuff like that will set it off. So if you're doing something like that and it goes off, that's probably why it's going off. Any other reason, if you're not doing anything like that and it goes off, make sure we shut our LP tank off. Go get it checked out. Figure out why it's going off. All right, down below that, if I unsnap. All right, so down here is our 110 volt breakers. These are going to be a lot like the ones you have home. Actually, they're going to be identical to the ones you have at home. What they're going to do is when they trip, they're going to trip halfway. You need to shut them all the way off and then turn it back on to reset. Everything's labeled there on the left side to what each breaker goes to. Snap that back into place. Snap that back into place. Okay, now we'll move back up. Bathroom door does have a safety button on the driver's side that just unsnaps. And then on the passenger side, same thing. That just unsnaps. And what we're gonna do is meet in the middle. There's magnets right here in the middle. Close, open. So really easy to do. Just make sure we put these back on anytime we're gonna travel. Otherwise these doors are gonna bang back and forth and they can fall off their tracks, break, other things. So we'll just go around that door handle and then snap it in place. Okay. So now let's get into some of the fun stuff. All right. So we'll start up high here. Same light is on the driver's side. Push it once, hold it, turns the light on. All right, starting up top. This is our inverter. So this is our big inverter that's running everything in this coach. Couple things that we can do with this inverter is, of course, we can turn it on. That's what that on and off button is. Anytime you're not using this inverter, say at night, you don't need anything inverter, 12 volt stuff is enough, go ahead and shut it off because you'll hear fans running, stuff like that. Just shut it off if you're not using it. There's no reason for it to be on. The other thing we can pretty much do in here is we can kind of change modes. We can put it in standby mode. We can have it on the on mode, which the on mode is pretty much what it's going to do is if it senses me lose power, or the standby mode, sorry. Standby mode, when it senses me lose power, it's going to automatically turn the inverter on. That's kind of the best way in case you lose power in the middle of the night, it will automatically kick on. Pretty much anytime you plug in, more than likely it's going to go to that standby mode. There's a couple other settings you can enable it, so anytime I lose power, it won't come on. Kind of up to you. It depends how you're using your coach. The other thing we can do in there is we can go into the settings and change settings. Like I tell everybody, if you're going to change settings, have the manual in front of you. Know what setting you're going to and know what you're changing it to. The other thing you can do is charge rates. So how much charge we're giving our battery. And that's, if we're going to be camping for long periods of time, being plugged in, you might want to lower the charge rate. There's no reason to hit it with a full charge all the time. But again, that's up to you. And anything you're going to change in there, just have that manual out. All right, so now let's go right over here. That right there is actually going to be holding tank heaters. So that's going to be a 12 volt pad on the bottom of your gray tank, bottom of your black tank, and also on your drainage system. It's there to keep things thawed out. Anytime we're in freezing condition, just turn it on. It's going to help a ton. It is a big energy draw, so kind of watch your batteries if we have it on. Pay attention to them. It is lighted, so once I turn it on, you'll have a red light, off, no light. Okay. Okay, down below that is an LP switch, either on or off on that. All right, down below that is a temperature sensor. So that's actually reading our room temperature from our Truma. It's a remote sensor, and it's talking to this panel for the Truma up here. All right, so we'll go into the Truma actually, since we're talking about the sensor. All we gotta do is click the middle button. The very first thing that you see flashing right there is gonna be setting the room temperature. So if you want it hot, cold, whatever temperature you want it at. I'm gonna go ahead and click on it. It says off. Now all I gotta do is twist this dial to the right. If I wanna go up in temp, twist it to the left. If I wanna go down in temp. Once you get to a temp that you want, click the middle button. And if you don't want the heat on, we need to take it back down to the off position. And then click the middle button. So for now, I'm just gonna kick it up a little bit, right there. Okay, that next icon that you see over there with the thermometer on it is gonna be for a hot water. Couple settings, we have off, eco, hot, and boost. So eco is gonna run at a lower wattage, pretty much a lower temperature. Your hot is gonna run at the max temperature that this can produce. And then boost, what that's for, it actually will give your water heater priority over the heat for 3 cycles. So once your Truma cycles 3 times, it will reset to the last setting you had it in. So if you had it in the hot setting, it's gonna go back to that hot setting. I'm gonna go here. And then whatever setting you want to select, you have to push that middle button. If you just let go, it won't select it. So if I want eco, click it. Next one over is actually going to be what kind of power source I want to use. So it's going to be gas or electric, or a mixture of both. So the very first setting we have is gas, which is 100% gas. Next over is mix 1, which is going to be partial electric, a lower wattage electric, and gas. Gas usually takes priority on that. Next one over is going to be mix 2. Now we use more wattage on the elements. Gas still takes priority, but we're using more wattage. Or we have electric 1 or electric 2. And again, that's going to be strictly wattage, a lower wattage or a higher wattage, depending on what you need. Just remember, if we're out dry camping and you put that on electric 2, we are using quite a bit of watts. So keep an eye on your batteries. At that point, anytime you're dry camping, it's probably a good idea to put the auto start on, just for safety. Because the last thing you want to do is drain these batteries down to nothing. We really, 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 really do not want to do that. So anything you can avoid to taking them down to nothing. The icons that you're seeing up top, the flame means we are calling for heat. There's a room temperature set. The blinking one is saying we have a position set for the hot water. And then it will show you what energy source you have on the right there. So right now we're calling for gas. That's what the little bottle means. And then this over here is telling us that the fan is running, the blower fan for the heat part of it. Right here is actually where we set the blower fan. It's either eco or high on that. Down below that, you'll see a little plug that's right there. That's just telling us we have power. So if you're plugged in or you have your inverter on and you don't see that little plug, that probably means that GFI is tripped underneath this bed, or there's a different problem. The little wrench that you see is settings, just like your inverter. If you go into these settings, make sure you have that manual in front of you. And the main reason I say that is because we can change languages. We can go to French, a whole lot of different languages. I couldn't tell you how to take it back out of. Next one over is going to be setting the clock. That's actually on the back screen there. And then the next one over is going to be a setback thermostat. So what that's actually for is if you want to set up a program for starting at 9 and shutting off at 5, that's where we do that from. Actually, Truma is really easy to use. Pretty much those first 3 settings are the only thing you really need to worry about too much. And that's your room temperature, hot water, and fuel source. Okay, so that's the Truma. We'll go right beside the Truma here. This is going to be your one-place panel. So this is where we can look at battery level, which is going to say 14.3. Chassis is going to say 12.1. On this part of this, all I want you looking at is the chassis. Don't pay attention to the house. We have a different gauge up on the Volta for that. So don't pay attention to the 14 something, because again, we're a 50 some volt system, so 14.2 is really not telling you much. All right, next one over is going to be tank levels. So that's going to show you your freshwater, LP gas, gray, and black water. They all go up by thirds, besides LP gas goes up by quarters. They want you a little more precise on the LP gas. All right, and then we have our second water pump switch, which is right there. Going below that, we have our power control system. So our power control system is taking care of itself pretty much. There's not a lot we can do with it. This panel is pretty much a readout. So if I go to scroll, it's going to tell me what service I have, which we're on 30 amp. Scroll down. Now it's going to tell us water heater's power. All that means is we haven't shed it. So if it sheds the water heater, that means it's going to shut it down for 120 seconds and then turn it back on once you come down to amp range. And then if I go down, air conditioner powered. So what it's going to shed is pretty much your high energy draws, which would be AC water heater. And then down from that, it's going to tell us how many amps we're using against our system. And again, it's just a readout, so it's just there for you to look at, and that's about it. Over here, we have two light switches. We have bedroom, and we have galley, or bedroom and galley. The galley one is a three-way switch, so there's another switch by the main walk-in door, but this is the only switch for the bedroom lights. And then down below that, we have more USB ports for the passenger side. You have that same storage down beside the bed as we had on the driver side, which is right down there. Also the same head lift, which is right there. All right, so now if I come up above, so up here, we have storage, but there is something up here. So in this storage, on the back side here, you'll see a controller that has lights on it. So that controller is our solar controller. The lights correspond to what it's doing. And actually right there on that front panel, it tells you what those lights mean. But if you want to pull your manual out, it tells you exactly what the lights are doing. And that tells you what process the solar panels are in right now. But yeah, up in that first cabinet's where that controller is. Okay. Down below these, again, same shades, same windows as we have on the driver's side. One thing that's nice here underneath the passenger side bed, if I lift on the front here, I have storage in here. That's also where your legs for your table store, right down here. The extra bar to make this into bed stores, and it gives you a little more storage in there. We also have another storage, which is right here. Nice deep storage. So it does give us lots of storage underneath the passenger side bed. Use gas struts to hold them up, which is nice because now they won't fall down on you, any of that stuff. You can do whatever you need to down there. Right below me here, you'll actually see the table. So the table is actually what's going to make this into a bed. So we're going to flip this open. What you're going to do is lift this out, just like that. All right, so now a couple things we have to do. First of all, we got to grab the bar that's in here. So that bar that's separate in here is the front one. So what we're going to do is come up here, under there, and there. So that's our very front bar. The other two, and I'm going to get this table out of the way. It's going to make it a lot easier. All right, we'll set that up there for now. All right, the other two are actually under here. They will just slide out. So they're made to stay in all the time. It's just the front one that's not in here. And then the back one actually is right here. 3 bars come across, and that's for structural support in the middle. Now your table actually has 2 wood pieces up on this side. So you'll actually see 2 little wood pieces that have a little channel in the middle. This channel right here is made to sit on that front pillar. So all I'm going to do is take this, Flip it to where I need. Get down that front pillar. Alright, slide that all the way over to the driver's side. Now we can bring this bed back down. Right there. Right there. And the two cushions that you have, those little cushions, right here and here, are your fillers. So right in there, and right in there. So that's how we make it into bed. Really not that hard, couple steps. It still leaves you a little cutout where I'm standing right now. So if we are laying in bed, I can get out, use the bathroom without having climbing up and over the bed. Let's just reverse that now. So I'm gonna go here, here. And again, I always like to open these cabinet or the storage under here. That actually just gives you more room to work around here. So then I'll slide the bed up and off, out of the way, slide the bar back in, bar back in, bar out, and snap that back into its storage, just like that. Table. One more thing about the table before I put it away. So we have two holders here, and that's for your two legs. As you can see, they're offset here and here. That allows you to put it two directions in the mounts. So it allows you to get further away from it, giving you more room to pass by it, or gets it closer to you if you need to eat, any of that stuff. But definitely gives you two positions on that. All right, now I'm gonna take this, and when we put it away, we always like to put the tabletop back towards the wood. So you gotta fit in between all the mounts down here. This is always sometimes a little tricky. Just like that. I always put it back towards the cabinet there, just so we're not damaging it with feet, kicking it, anything hitting this. Flip that tab down, that's gonna hold it in place for travel. And we can bring the two storage doors down, just like that. Okay, so now we'll come up high, right above my head. So very first, right here, is the carbon monoxide detector I was talking about earlier. So that's the one in your bedroom. Flips open again, 9-volt battery. Now we'll move forward to that. AC. So air conditioner is controlled all right up here. So the very first thing up here, you're gonna set with this arrow up front. And that's gonna have low fan on it twice. You might get confused why there's low fan twice. What it's there for is if there was a heat pump option, the heat pump would take one of those spots. But there's not on this AC, so that's why you have two low fans. So either we have low fan, low cool, high cool. So low and high fan are exactly what they say. They're just turning the fan on, circulating air in the coach. Low cool, high cool are for turning the compressor on. That's if we do want to cool the coach down. All right, we do have two filters on the side here. If you ever see them get dusty, dirty, we're just gonna grab here, hold down. This is your filter right here. So pull that out, clean it, put it back up. If you do use water, any of that stuff to clean it, let it dry and then put it back up. All right, so then we just go back up with it and snap it back in place. All right, so now the other control that we have on here is actually gonna be the thermostat. So that's gonna set what temperature we want it to be in here. We set that to this back arrow that's behind it. So the more blue you see, the colder it's gonna be. The more red you see, the warmer it's gonna be. So it's not actually gonna tell you a temperature, but a lot of times you can hear a click in there whenever you hear it turning on or off. So that might help you set the actual temperature. Okay, so moving over, passenger side, we have our Jensen DVD CD player. All right, couple features of this. We have power button on the left side. That's turning the radio on and off. Volume control right here. The middle is actually an enter button, so that's selecting things. You have an eject button. audio, which is going to be your bass, trebles, fades, standard radio stuff. Zones. Nice thing about this system is I can control separate zones separately. So we have an A zone and we have a C zone. B is not used on the coach. I can actually listen to FM radio inside and listen to AM radio outside if I want to, which is really nice. Also control the volume separate, and that's what that zone button's for. So you go to each zone and set separate things. Settings button is for the settings of the radio. Dim is dimming the back screen. You have an auxiliary port right here, HDMI port here, and then if I keep going over here, we have a USB port. ASPS is going to be scans through presets or scans through normal radio stations. You have your preset button there. We have an alarm button, which is, we can set an alarm whatever time we want to get up, and then say you want to get up at 7, the radio will come back on at the same volume that you had it when you shut it off. The sleep timer just sets a timer for when you want the radio to shut down. So if you set it for 30 minutes, after 30 minutes, it shuts down. Clock is setting the clock. Then you have all your functions over here, which is AM, FM, disc, Bluetooth, auxiliary, USB. So that's how we select those functions. Play, pause, scrolling through stations, and a couple more function buttons when we're actually having things plugged in. So that's the radio. It will play CDs and DVDs. Like I said, it's pre-wired into the TV on HDMI 1. So now up underneath the CD player, DVD player, we'll start on the right side here. You'll see a little coax. That's actually your booster plate. What that is giving your king jack antenna power. There's a little button on the back side here by a green light. So if I push that, you'll see the green light go off, and I push it, you'll see a green light come on. That is the only way your king jack's gonna have power. So if that green light's not on, you won't get any local stations. Make sure you have that on if you're trying to get local stations. This here, you probably won't use. It's just kind of how our booster plates come with that coax hookup. It's just there, you won't use it. All right, next one over is an HDMI port, and that is pre-fed into your TV. So that'd be HDMI 2, and that's if I want to hook up Apple TV, whatever you want to, that runs on HDMI. Next one over is a 110 volt outlet that your TV plugs into. And then we do also have a little bit of storage up there. Down below that is your TV. Your TV is on a swivel, so we can go anywhere we want to with it. The only thing we need to remember is when we go to put it away, that you hear that latch. That latch is setting the latch for this pole. So when I want to release it, I pull, and then that releases it off the wall. But for travel, always make sure it's in place. Last thing you want is this TV smacking around as you're traveling down the road, so make sure we latch it. The one thing about TV is, anytime we switch locations and we want to use the local stations, we have to do a channel search every single time. So it's a matter of going into menu, over to channel, and then auto channel search, antenna. And every time you switch the locations, you'll have to do it all over again. And same with cable. If the resort offers cable, you'll have to go through that same process, but instead of selecting antenna, now you select cable, and then we shut your booster switch off if they offer the cable. Again, it's in your manual. Problems running that, call us. We'll walk you through it too. Okay, now up above here. So this here is the Volta system. This is what this coach is all about. This is turning those lithium ion batteries on and off. So that's what that green button's for here. So I push the green button, it will have a delay, and then they will come on. This is the battery meter here. That's what I want you to base your batteries on, not anything over there. Base it strictly up here on this percentage. And actually, if you go in your manual, it will tell you what percentage of batteries is depleted and what voltage it should be at. So it has a certain thing for 75%, 80, all that stuff in there. This is also where it's going to show you 35 to 25, where that auto start's going to kick on. And again, I can't stress it enough, do not let these batteries go to zero. Don't ever want to do that. So check them off and make sure they're being charged. The best thing to do for storage is just shut everything off. Also with the Volta system, we have to take in mind that there's a high temperature cutoff and a low temperature cutoff. So kind of be cautious if we're going to leave it plugged in all the time, and it's going to be in really warm temperatures or in really cold temperatures where we're not going to have the heat running. Again, go to your manual, it has the high and low cutoffs. It's very important because if it cuts off, you can see your batteries go down. So just definitely be cautious on your batteries. Next thing you can do is all you do is push that once and that shuts everything off. Again, if you're plugged in, it won't shut off if you push the button. But if you're unplugged and push that, it shuts everything off back here, all your lights, everything. All right, and a lot of times you will have a little black cover that magnets up here. And then just covers it. And now all that's doing is covering those lights. So if you see a little black little leather cover, that's what it's for, is to cover that. All right, now coming down below that, 2 light switches. The one on the left closest to the door is actually for the outside LED light. That's the one we showed you that was on the passenger side, up high by your speakers. Next one over is for the 2 lights above my head in the galley. So that's that 3-way switch that's in your bedroom also, and then up front. All right, so now right above my head is that fan we were talking about. I showed you the remote already, which was down the drawer. Pretty much anything we can do on the remote, we can do up here on the actual settings, besides setting the actual temperature on the thermostat for that auto function. There is an auto function up here, but it sets it strictly to 78 degrees. So if I hold this button, you'll hear a beep, a green light will come on. Now we're set to 78 degrees. So if it gets warmer than that in here, it's going to automatically open. And then if it gets colder, close. Fan speeds, power button. And then we have a manual retract here for closing the lid if the motor would happen to fail or anything. And then if your screen ever gets dirty or anything, you want to take it down and clean it, that's what these little white tabs are for. Twist them till they're all the way backwards and do that to all 4 of them and the screen will come right down. Now we're going to close that one. Okay. All right, so that's the vent fan. Now we'll circle around up towards the cab here. So we have a couple things right behind the driver's seat and passenger seat. If I would just swivel the passenger seat, flip this lid open, and we do have a pull-out workstation. Lift up, flip over. It allows us to work right here. All we're gonna do is reverse that, go up. Make sure you hold it because it will drop down fast. Close the lid. And then, kind of hard to see, but right down underneath my foot over here, there are USB ports and a 110 volt outlet that we can use when we're sitting in this chair or outside. Gives you another place to plug in that. All right, now above my head, we do have a little more storage up above the passenger seat and driver's seat. A couple things we have up here. All right, so up here right now, I have the screen that's actually for your back doors. All it uses is these buttons. So just snap that all the way around. You'll see buttons back there that it goes around, and then it has a zipper in the middle that allows you to access in and out. Nice thing about this, in your front screen, we can have the whole coach open, no bugs, stuff like that getting in, nice breezes. Other thing we have up there are right here in this blue bag are going to be your driver's door and your passenger door shades. There's little black clips on each door that they clip into. The other thing that we have up there right now is actually the floor mat that goes in here. Anytime we deliver a coach, that floor mat will be put down. But right now it's up here. Okay, next thing we're going to talk about is rotating seats. Really easy to do. All right, so on the driver's seat, the corner right here. This little corner tab is how we're going to rotate. I'm going to lift up on that, and that releases the seat. The main thing we want to do with the seat prior to rotating is move it all the way forward. And how I did that was grab the bar in the front, lift up and pull forward. So then now that allows me to rotate. The driver's seat, you're always going to be sitting at an angle just because our countertop is there. But once we come back, then I can go back to kind of where I want to kind of open this area up. The other side right here is actually for your backrest. So if I pull up on that, now I can control the backrest. So just remember, one corner backrest, one corner rotate. Passenger seat's going to operate the exact same that I'm showing you on this one. So now if I come around right here, all right, so off here to the side, okay, right here. So we twist this, that's going to lift the front of your feet up and down. Next one back is actually going to lift the kind of the back of you up and down. And then up high is going to be your lumbar support. Right there. And again, just remember, both seats are identical. Okay. All right, so a couple other things to talk about up front here. Okay, so we'll start on the steering wheel. A couple things we have up here is we can hang a call up, and this is for your hands-free calling. So if we Bluetooth our phone to the system, then we can control it from up here. Hang a call up, answer a call. This here is hands-free calling, so you can push it and say, call John Smith. This is muting. These two are going to be radio controls and also volume control of your call. Horn in the middle. On the right side of the steering wheel here, we actually have our windshield washers. It's going to be opposite of what you're probably used to. Down is going to engage them, up shuts them off. Intermittent is right here by that twist. Trip reset on the end, that's resetting trips on your dash. And then if I pull it towards me, that's actually your fluid, washer fluid. Down in this little cubby right down here, there's a USB port and an auxiliary port. That sits right down in there. That's the USB port that's hooked into the radio. Okay, over here on the shifter, we do have tow haul right here. Anytime we get in steep grades, hilly, any of that stuff, use the tow haul. It's actually going to use your engine to kind of slow you down, shifting those gears and everything. Or if you're towing, use tow haul. And on the shifter, as we come down to drive, we can actually click it to the left and then go up and down, and that's actually manually shifting. All right, in the middle, we have fog lights right here. ESC is traction control. You have the ability to shut it off. Four-way hazards, door locks, and then we have a USB port and a 12-volt port up here, strictly for charging up here. Climate control in the middle, so we have our fan speeds right here, which is faster. We want the fan. If I push the middle, it's recirculation. Right here is thermostat, how hot you want the air coming out or how cold. AC control is right in the middle if I push it. Right here is vent selections, and if I push the middle, it's your defrost button. Now we'll go up to the radio. If I push power right now, you'll see the radio will power up. So we can use this radio even though the ignition's not on. Let it power up here for a second. Okay, so there, accept the disclaimer. All right, let's start with radio. Oops. All right, so now we're on the radio. We have the AM or Sirius XM selection down here. That's because we're on FM right now, that's why it doesn't say anything. But if I click on that button, now you have the selection of AM, FM, or Sirius XM. We'll just go back into FM. You have tuning here, and that's manually tuning. Information about the radio station. Audio is, again, radio functions, bass, treble, fades. Presets up top, and then you can scroll through stations here, or we can turn this dial on the right side to scroll through stations. All right, next one over is going to be media. We don't have a media device hooked up right now, so you don't have anything on that. Navigation is TomTom. So TomTom is really easy to use. Right here in the left-hand corner, I'm going to push those dots. This is where we type a location in. So all you got to do is push search, and and then it will tell you to type a town in, street, put an address in. Pretty simple. All right, next one over is going to be phone. So this is where we're going to pair our phone. No phone connected right now. Do you want to pair? Then you would say yes. And now it gives you a pin. So once you turn your Bluetooth on your phone, you'll actually see this system come up. And then you want to make sure those pins match is what they're looking for. And if they match, say okay. And it's that easy to pair your phone to the system. And then if I go to more. All right, so in the more, we have a clock. That's actually where we set the clock on this screen and also set the clock on the main dash. Compass is exactly what it says. It's compass for north, south, east, west. Then we have trip. So that's going to be your fuel range, your trip A, trip B. All the stuff that you usually have in your dash is actually built into the radio over here. If I go more again, right now you can't see that square right there. That actually is activating your rear camera. The only way that can be activated is if your key is on. So as I turn the key on, now you see that lit up. Now I can activate the rear camera. So anytime you're traveling down the road, you can have the camera on the whole time if you want to, which I kind of like because I can see what's going on behind me. I can see traffic, any of that stuff. But that's where you turn that camera on and off at. Anytime you put this in reverse, that camera's coming up automatically anyways. But the button's just for if you're traveling forward. X will take me out of the camera. And then it gives you outside temp above that. All right, the other thing we have on the outside here is we have a mute button. You have a screen on and off. So if I shut that off, I just have to touch the screen and turn it back on. Settings of the radio. Other thing we have up here is you do have a paper clip that's right here. And then we do have front shades. So this is how we black out the windshield. Not black out, but put the shades up. So undo the Velcro. There and there. I'm going to lift right here. It actually releases an arm. This little button, there's a little slot right on the end here. Up on your visor right here, there's a little tab that locks into. You'll hear a clip. Now it's locked in place. Do the same thing on the passenger side. Up. Then lock into place. Then now we can just pull the shade up. Just like that. And then you're going to use the visor coming down, visor coming down. And that gives you your privacy up front. Let's just reverse that. Up, up. Okay. Down with it. Just like that. Now I'll release the driver's side arm. Come down. One thing I will tell you is what you want to do is when you come down, don't just nicely set it there. Give it a little tap when you come down, because there is a buzzer in this shade that even if I pull it up just a little bit, now that buzzer is going to go off. And it's a safety buzzer just so we don't have the shade up and try to drive. Same thing on the passenger side. If I release that, come down, let it close kind of hard. Go here, put your Velcro back on. And that's all there is to it. But again, close them hard. I can't stress that enough. Don't just set them down nice. Close them hard. Other than that, that pretty much is our Travato. That's our 59KL. So if you have any questions, you know, any interest or any of that stuff, just either give us a call, look us up online, lichtsinn.com. Other than that, have a nice day.